And joining us now live is Dr. Sasha Tomich. Dr. Tomich is the Associate Dean for Strategy, Innovation, and Technology at Boston College's Woods College.
And he also works as an Associate Professor of Economics at Morrissey College, also part of Boston College. Dr. Tomich, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Let's start with a chart that President Trump held up showing reciprocal tariffs against some countries. It says that tariffs charged to the U.S., but those aren't the actual tariff rates, aren't they? And if they're not the actual tariff rates, what are those numbers? Where'd they come from?
So thank you for having me. That is a great question. So to be fair, he never said that those were the tariffs. What he said is that that is the estimate of, the way I interpret it, that is the estimate of what would be the tariff equivalent of all the trade barriers. Because tariffs were very unpopular worldwide for a long time, and the World Trade Organization was working against them. So what countries would do, they would impose what are called non-trade barriers. So they would declare predatory pricing, they would put, as he mentioned today, certain rules surrounding, say, consumer safety or some technical requirements that would essentially act as a barrier to trade. So what I believe somebody on his staff or some economists did, they probably estimated the overall impact of everything together and then figured what would be the equivalent if it was a tariff. That's my guess, based on what he said today. But no, those are not the actual tariffs.
Okay, those charts were causing some confusion, so thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Has the U.S. ever had a baseline tariff policy like this against so many countries?
Probably, as he said today, in the 1700s and 1800s. I mean, it is an interesting example that he pulled up, and it's actually well known in economic history because part of the political horse trading on tariffs back in 1880s was the Sherman Antitrust Act, fun for economists, right? But at that time, the federal government was very small, did not have the mandate it has today, and yes, they were running considerable surpluses, but today we are really not even talking apples and oranges, we are talking apples and space shuttles when it comes to the federal government back in the 1880s and federal government funding needs today. So yes, that was probably the last time. There was the Smoot-Hawley era, and we know how that ended, and he referenced it today. And I am not aware that U.S. had the baseline tariffs against all the countries ever before, and I'm not even sure that it was back then.
Well, I know Americans have been told that at least initially we're going to take the brunt of these tariffs. How soon do you think we will feel those effects? Any idea?
So that is a very tricky question. We will see it as soon as he gets serious about it, because this is the third time that these tariffs have been announced. They have backed down every time because of the reaction of the market and such, and then the president has ratcheted the rhetoric. So we will probably feel it pretty quickly, I would say within 6 months of them actually being implemented. I think also what will delay the effect a little bit, many businesses have been buying ahead of the tariffs. Right, but whatever they bought so far will only go so far. The moment they need to replace it, they will have to pay tariffs, because there is no way that we can get the supply chains within the United States in any kind of time, like 6 months or a year. So if I had to guess, if he was really to implement them today, if they were really not to give any exemptions to any countries or any companies, which is another big question, if it went as designed immediately today, my best guess would be no later than 6 months from now, and probably soon.
All right, we always appreciate your insight and all the information that you're sharing with our viewers. Dr. Sasha Tomich, thank you so much for taking time out this evening.
Yeah, thank you very much.